The Savage Hawkman number 12, written by Rob Liefeld and Mark Polton, art by Joe Bennett. Last issue we left off with Hawkman being shot by a guy who was teased like 3 issues ago named Pike. And this issue is just it literally picks up with him being shot again. And now it's like it happens slightly differently this time, where he falls off the roof and Pike goes down and chases after him. And this is a lot, and I mean a lot of internal monologue of him just saying like, here's exactly what's happening on any given page, and here are my feelings about it. And to the point where Pike is a little bit leaning on the fourth wall, and at some point he's like, hey, could you kill it with the internal monologue and just fight me already? So I just want to make that clear. There's a lot of that in here that I won't be going over. But anyway, it's just an extended fight scene to start where Pike is literally the upper hand. Like, no matter what, Hawkman can't do anything about it. But he does make clear, like, yeah, here's the deal. I know about your nth metal. My boss wants you alive, so I'm going to be taking you in for that. And he's like, oh, this must be about that whole gladiator battle thing I did like 3 issues ago. And you must want me for that, so you'll never have my armor. So a long fight scene, and Pike, I swear, considering it's Rob Liefeld, I'm not that surprised. He's like a proto-Deadpool. Like, he's just like all this quippy stuff, and he's not taking it super seriously. But he doesn't break the fourth wall. He leans on it. Oh boy, does he lean on it, but he doesn't break it. So he's like almost Deadpool, even in his design. I don't like it. So anyway, he keeps on going on. He's like, oh, I don't think so, Harvey Birdman. Oh, come on, Tweety Bird. Like, he's just... At one point, he makes his way over to his bike that he has hidden. But it's not just a bike. It's like a flying bike. But it's not just a flying bike. It's an alien flying bike. But it's not just an alien flying bike. It's a sentient, nagging housewife sort of voice to this flying alien hover bike. So, yeah, he takes off on that. He manages to manual override the thing, and the bike talks like, oh, manual override, you always do that. We need counseling. So then he fires a cable at Hawkman. Hawkman breaks out of the cable immediately, but then uses it to swing the cycle into a nearby bell tower. He gets a little bit of an upper hand on Pike, but then Emma comes in with a sniper rifle and just like shoots the remaining weapons out of Pike's hands. So they finally have the upper hand on him. They tie him up and they say, all right, here's the deal. We're using your technology to lead us to where your boss is. And they go out to this big open empty field, and it reveals Pike's ship, which is this giant alien thing. And they say that the Sky Cycle and this ship are all, I want to see if I get this one right, Kundian? I believe it was Kundian in origin. I don't know. Cherubims. There it is. The cherubims. Kind of like angels, but not. Anyway, so they start interrogating him, saying like, oh, you're going to tell us everything about you. Like, who do your orders come from? Why are you here? Blah, blah, blah. And I'm just going to give you the short version. Pike, I don't know if he comes from the cherubims, but at least he has cherubim stuff, and he's been hired by cherubims. I think maybe he is cherubim. But they were the ones who originally created the Daemonites. Which, if you know anything else going on in DC Comics right now, the Daemonites have been showing up in like all the other B-tier books to be just this generic-ass alien villain. And now Hawkman's in on it. So that's just the best. So anyway, the Daemonites are a problem, and the cherubims let them free, and they were all knocked out. And then the Daemonites went to Thanagar, and the Thanagarians believe that Hawkman's nth metal is the one thing that could stop the Daemonites. So they came to get Hawkman, whether he liked it or not, to join in this fight to stop the Daemonites, led by Hellspawn, which apparently changes from book to book, whether or not Hellspawn's actually the leader or is some other guy. So anyway, apparently all this was part of Pike's plan. He activates some sort of knockout gas, and he takes out Emma and Hawkman as he gets free. And then they pull down a signal of, as soon as they entered in the ship, the people who hired Pike, the Thanagarians, are going to show up. And so their ships arrive, and Pike's like, oh, you better wake up. The royalty is here, the queen of the Thanagarians. And we see descending from the ship is a woman with hawk wings and like a Hawkman-esque mask, but like she doesn't have feather wings, she has like metal wings, and she's coming down, and he recognizes her as the woman from a transmission from issue like 9. And he's like, oh yes, I see her now, and I feel like I've known her my whole life. Her name is Shira, and she's calling me Qatar Hole, and she's calling me my darling, but I remember her, and the last thing I remember of her is that she vowed to kill me. Dun, dun, dun. So, next issue is the Zero issue, so I'm sure we'll get, like, backstory. Like, immediately it's set up just to do that. I'm okay with that. I don't like the villain. Not the Hawk Girl, not Shira, but the Pike. Because, like, honestly, it felt like they were building him up to be something else entirely. Like they were building him up to be like, oh, he's a trained assassin. Da, da, da. And fine if they always had this plan in mind, but it doesn't feel like they did. It feels like they just pivoted at some point when they're like, oh, wait, we can do something else like over here. Which I genuinely don't know what goes through Rob Liefeld's mind. So I'll just leave it at he actually intended this, in which case it felt very awkward. The fact that Pike was set up, he was taken off the table for an issue, and then he was put back on only to discover that he's actually, like, with the Thanagarians. And I know a little bit about Thanagar based off, like, the cartoon series and just previous DC knowledge. This seems like a new take. I don't know how this is going to play. I'm intrigued. I wouldn't say interested. So, overall, I don't know. This issue feels like a fight issue that just sprinkles in at the very end the setup for the next thing. It doesn't feel important on its own. It doesn't feel important that we beat Pike, especially because we didn't beat Pike. Like, this whole issue was just a waste of, oh, we're setting up all these new and crazy things. So, overall, it's a 6. It's a 6. I want to say lower, but I can't justify any lower. So, it's a 6. The art is fine. I don't hate the writing, because the thing is that while Liefeld's doing the plot, a lot of the actual scripting is done by Mark Polton, so it doesn't sound bad, but I just don't like the general flow of it. So that's on Liefeld. So yeah, and why is Emma even here? She's done nothing. She's done actually nothing this whole time. We just wanted to give him a sidekick. So yeah, it's a 6. We'll see if they can salvage it, but I'm not holding my breath.